And greetings. Time for another week of confidence picks here from the crew on Bigger 10. I'm Steve Deace with Aaron McIntyre. We are heading into week 2, Aaron, but let's kick this thing off. How'd each of us do in week 1?
So it's not that hard. These weeks of the season, the first 2 weeks are probably the easiest weeks.
Stack some dubs.
Yeah, exactly. So we each got our 18 through 10 teams picks right. I'm not going to go through all of those. I mean, all of these were pretty big favorites. When it comes to the second page of teams, you got everything right up to Northwestern over Tulane, but you did put that in your 1 slot. I got everything right this week. I picked basically favorites, in case you couldn't tell. Your bonus pick, though, of Ohio State -1.5 over Texas came through. My bonus pick of Illinois over 63.5 points, man, they just stalled offensively on a couple of drives. Otherwise, that would have actually come through, I think.
Didn't they score 63?
No.
I thought they had 63 points. They didn't.
Unless I mistook.
Which means you lost it by half a point. I thought they scored 63.
Football. No, I think this was well under the. No, it was 52-3.
Oh, 52-3.
Yeah,
okay.
52-3. So okay. I think they stalled out on a drive or two that would have gotten me over, because it was like, what did I say last week? I said I could see this being like 56-3 going into the fourth quarter. Well, it was almost 56-3 going into the fourth quarter.
There's just something unique about living life to take a team total over 63, right? It's like playing an Iowa over with what's his nuts at quarterback a couple of years ago.
Oh, Deacon Hill.
Thank you. Sometimes you just got to do things like that just to feel alive.
Yes.
Just to feel alive again.
Yes.
I totally get it.
So
I do.
You're winning by virtue of hitting your bonus +7 pick, Ohio State -1.5 over Texas, 177-171, going into this week's slate of games.
Yeah, the first few weeks here, the bonus picks are going to have a huge sway in how each of us do. So
you probably already won this year.
I don't think that's true. All right, but I mean, a lot of these games are also very self-explanatory. I mean, Ohio State's playing in HBC. They won't name the score for obvious reasons, but let's just say they're not going to be in danger of losing. I'll take Indiana as my 17 over Kennesaw State. Penn State, I mean, these games just don't even need analysis.
Penn State over Pitbull University?
Yes, Florida International. Thank you. They're big NIL booster. Nebraska over Akron, which looked like dog crap at home against Wyoming. Washington over UC Davis. Minnesota over Northwestern State. So there's a couple of FCS foes. USC over their old coach, Clay Helton and Georgia Southern. I'll take Oregon over Oklahoma State. Did you see Mike Gundy crying
oh my gosh.
about how much more money Oregon has? This guy, listen, I covered professionally Iowa State when he had his best teams at Oklahoma State in the T-Bone Pickens era. All right. Come on, man.
He's a man at 40 and a child at 50.
I mean, you had one of the biggest sugar daddy pimps north of Tuscaloosa, Alabama in the under the table era, and now you want to play po' boy? Get out of here with that. All right. I could see Lanning just tack on a touchdown or two at the end just out of spite. He's that kind of guy, and I respect it, frankly. Northwestern over terrible Western Illinois. I could see that maybe being Northwestern's only win.
All right, here's my first page of games. Ohio State over Grambling, Penn State over FIU, Indiana in the 16 slot over Kennesaw State. Now for 15, Minnesota over Northwestern State, Oregon over Oklahoma State, same stuff. Wisconsin over MTSU, although some of these like Rutgers, Wisconsin, I'm like, do I really have that much confidence in these games? Number 12, Nebraska over Akron. 11, Washington over UC Davis. I didn't realize, is that a recent football program, UC Davis? I didn't even know they had an FCS program. 10, I've got USC over Georgia Southern.
All right, my second sheet, maybe the most points I'll put on Purdue all year. I'm putting 9 on them against the Salukis. 8 for the Badgers over Middle Tennessee. 7 for Maryland over Northern Illinois. Something about that game has me worried. Maybe it's just that I watched Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame in week 2 last year. I don't know. Rutgers over Miami of Ohio. Duke, I think, is going to beat Illinois straight up. I think a lot of people are going to see Illinois is only laying 3 at Duke. That just smells like a trap to me.
That's the same. I've got the same thing as well.
I've got Oklahoma over Michigan. I just think it's too big of a spot for a freshman quarterback in just his second start. And if it's not, then Connor Stallions has been telling me for a year that he's the LeBron James of football, and he'll prove him right. But I'm going to go with the Sooners. I'm going to take Iowa State over Iowa. Here's a stat for you. This is the 11th time since the series was resumed in 1977 that Iowa State is a consensus point spread favorite over Iowa in a football game. The previous 10 times, the Hawkeyes are 1-9 straight up in those games. 1-9. Now, the good news, if you're a Hawk like you, is the one win was the last time it happened a few years ago. All right? So you can we're reversing the trend. You could look at it that way. All right? But I'm going to take Iowa State at home. I'm going to take, I don't know who to pick. I think these are two solid coaches with two solid backgrounds. I have no good idea how good their teams are, and Bill O'Brien and Jonathan Smith. So I'll just take Sparty at home because they're at home. And I have no clue who to pick in this game. So I'll put 1 point on UCLA to beat UNLV, but the game is in Vegas. My bonus this week, here's a contrarian play for a series that I believe has gone under the total 17 of the last 20 years. But my numbers strongly like the over in this game. So I'm going to play Iowa State over 41 as my bonus pick this week.
If, just off the top of my head, if memory serves correctly, these games more often go over in Ames than they do in Iowa City. So
that part is true.
So
when there have been rare overs, They are typically in Ames. Yes.
All right, here's the second page. Maryland over Northern Illinois, although this is another one of those, I don't know, I could see them struggling as well. Northwestern over Western Illinois, that was another one, even though I think Western Illinois is terrible. I did not like what I saw at all out of Northwestern last week. 7, Purdue over Southern Illinois, same story. Rutgers over Miami of Ohio, again, same story after what I saw from Rutgers last week. 5, I've got UNLV over UCLA. I just think UNLV has another game on, because you remember UNLV played week 1. They had to overcome, I think, Idaho State. They played week 0. They had to overcome Idaho State. But overall, I trust more, even in year 1, game 3, I trust Dan Mullen more than I do Deshaun Foster at this point. 4, I've got Michigan State over Boston College, although part of me wishes I would have maybe gambled with the upset here as well. 3, I've got Iowa over Iowa State. Iowa State played week 0, the Dublin game. Everybody talked about that. Really difficult to get up for that one. Really difficult conditions. And you pulled a W out of your hat and looked really good going into it and out of it. You come back home, everybody's talking about all week, you've got a really strong FCS team coming up this week, and you've got all this travel and trying to get caught up to speed as well. Well, they got up for South Dakota and looked really good doing it. Now you've got the in-state rivalry coming to your town. Everybody's talking about how good and dynamic you are and how Iowa, same old story with the quarterback. I just think it's really difficult to get up 3 games in a row this early in the season. And I just think from a motivational standpoint, I think probably Iowa has the edge. And one thing nobody's talking about, and they don't talk about it within the program, wink, wink, Iowa, Kirk Ferentz becomes the all-time winningest Big Ten coach if they beat Iowa State. I know his players are going to be motivated for that. So I just think this is a tougher spot for Iowa State, even though it's at home, than what a lot of people are saying. So I've got Iowa winning over Iowa State in the Cyhawk at my 3 slot. I think Michigan actually pulls it. I just don't. This is more, I know there's more technically experience with Venables than there is with Sharon Moore. I don't know, man. I think Michigan can roll into Norman and at least put up a fight. Now, I'm not super confident in it. That's why it's my number 2 pick, but I think I like Michigan's chances. It's going to be a difficult spot, but I do like their chances, so I'm going to go with the upset there. And then another upset, I've got Duke over Illinois. Like I said yesterday, I've got a little, maybe it was just first game jitters, what have you, but Illinois' offensive line, I didn't really like what I saw from them at a few moments there the other night. My bonus pick against the spread, Iowa plus 3.5 over Iowa State.
Well, we have 3 games of variance, so yeah, there's going to be some difference on the scoreboard heading into next week for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoy all the games. Please join us here on the channel next week again. Until then, I'm Steve Deace. He's Aaron McIntyre. We'll see you next week.